Hello, good morning. Well, it's morning for me anyway. I'm Joanne Hewins from lovetocreate.typepad.com, and today I'm going to do a video talking about the Cactus Cuties Bundle. It has this neat little stamp set, and it has a punch. Don't you just love a punch? This is the Cactus Builder Punch. So this is the card that I made using this, and I'm going to make this card just a little bit differently for you in this video. So the paper that I used here is from In the Wild. Doesn't sound like it would come from there, does it? That's the one with the cats, the tigers, and that kind of thing. But this is one of my favorites out of the pack. And this cactus enables the circle here to go under it and close the card. So here's what the card looks like, just kind of open. And then here's the inside of the card. So we're going to make this inside and out. Let's get started. Now, the punch on this does not cut out every shape that there is. Let me see if I've got it. Yeah, I think you can see that. This one will cut out this bowl right here. This piece cuts out this part of a cactus. And this one will cut out flowers. It would cut out that shape. We're just going to cut it out of cardstock. And then this part will cut this. And that's what I've added to a lot of the cacti along there. So I'm going to go back to how to cut and score this fold for you. So I'm just going to set that aside and this aside for a few minutes. And I'm going to start with a piece of soft succulent. And this is 5.5 by 8.5. That's just cutting the sheet of cardstock in half. So I am going to score this in a few places. Let me bring in my trimmer. And I'm going to score, and remember, this lighter color is your score piece. So I've got my cutter part down at the bottom. Hopefully that's going to stay where hopefully I'm not going to pull it up and cut with it. So we're going to first cut, or score, at 1 1/2. And then I'm going to move it over to 5 3/4. And score. Now, I've made this card before with this just being 1 inch. You could actually make this smaller, half any size that you want. Just remember that the inside of your card is 4 1/4. So wherever you make this first score, go over 4 1/4, and that's where you'll need your second score. So that makes that pretty easy if you just remember that. So I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to make sure these are straight, and both of these will go toward the inside. So that's our fold right there. Easy peasy, right? Okay, so for the, I told you we're going to make it a little bit differently, and what I was thinking as I made this card, or not as I was making it, but as I was writing it up, I thought, that paper makes that look pretty busy. I really like it, but what would it look like if it wasn't quite so busy? So that's what we're going to do with the second one. And I've already done some of the work. I took my pieces, and this time I picked up a embossing folder I hadn't really used yet. This one is the Checks dots. So there are 2 embossing folders. The other one is the dots, and I'm just using the checks this time. Now this, when you see these smaller embossing folders, these can be used with your regular cut and emboss. But it also fits in that mini cut and emboss. And remember, starting March 1st, in the whole month of March, that mini cut and emboss, I should have brought it in here, is 20% off. That's a big deal. It's so handy to have that right there on your desk. So remember, any of the small ones you have fit in that mini cut and emboss. Okay, so my first paper that I have, I cut at 1 3/8 by 5 3/8, and this will be on my blog post, and that will be referenced on my YouTube video, so you can find it easily. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on that. Excuse me, and that will go here. I like the glue because it's going to do good with something that is embossed, and it gives you a little bit of wiggle room. We'll see if we like this checks folder with that. So that will be going that way. And then this other one, and since there really isn't a, let's see how I put that. Okay, there's one side that's kind of embossed and one side that's kind of debossed, and you want the same. So I'm going to put my glue on this side. And this one really has no orientation to it. So it's the same either way. So I'm just going to stick it on right in there. I like the little borders lately around there. So this one is cut at 2 5/8 by 5 5/8. And that's going to come together like that. Kind of like that. So let me repeat it, but again, these measurements are going to be on my post. 1 3/8 by 5 3/8, 2 5/8 by 5 3/8. So there we go. So we use the layering circles dies for that one part, and for that I use the second largest circle and the coordinating scallop circle. I cut the circle itself from basic white, and then from soft succulent I cut the scalloped. And I'm just going to go ahead and glue the two of these together. Uh-oh. I should have pre-checked to make sure that glue was working. Hold on a second. I've got a couple others right here. Hopefully one of those will work. There you go. They weren't that far away. So I'm going to add this so that my scallops show all the way around. And that will end up going, right in here somewhere. Maybe a little higher. We'll see. All right. Now, as I showed you at the beginning, the punch does not quite cut out all of these shapes. So some of the shapes I've already stamped and cut out with my snips. These shapes are not hard to cut. Probably that one is the hardest, and it's certainly not bad. So I've gone ahead and cut out 2 of these pots and 1 of these, and I might switch up on some of those pots. We'll see. I've cut out this largest cactus, so let me just show you with this. I've stamped this, 1 in soft succulent and 1 in evening evergreen, and cut those out. These little 3-leafed plants, I did 2 in the evening evergreen and 1 in the soft succulent, and then I've done some various pots there, and those are stamped and cinnamon cider. So these are the colors that I've used for the card. Evening Evergreen, Soft Succulent, and Cinnamon Cider. Okay. And now we're going to work on getting together the parts that we will punch. I have to admit that sometimes I have a little bit of trouble with the builder punches and using them to the best of my paper, I guess it is. So what I do, now I know that I could probably stamp them all at once and make a little pattern, but I have always had trouble with that. So we're just going to talk about how I do it and go with that. So for this piece, I'm going to need to have a few of those. And what I'm going to do is I measured how big that was. I thought, well, that's going to be easier to come in from the side. So I measured how tall it was. It looks like it's about 1 1/4. So I think I made it 1 1/2. Sometimes if you get stuff too close to the edge, it doesn't punch as nicely. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to feed it in from the side, and of course I'm going to feed it in from the back so I can see exactly what's going on. So notice as I do that, the flat part of that needs to be at the bottom. So I'm going to start at this side. Okay, so I can use my paper as I go, and I'm going to put the bottom flat here. So here is the stamp that I'm going to need for that. I'm going to go back and look at this card, and I have one here, have one here, and they are both in soft succulent. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that in and stamp that. So I'll put one here and one here. And I'm not liking the stamping so much on that first one. So I'm going to stamp another one. That's not going to give me much to feed that in with, so we'll see. May end up using the back. So I'm going to feed that into my stamp. And probably, this is the part I don't like as much, it's probably going to be hidden behind other stuff, so it may be just fine. So I'm going to put that. Now this does not make a border on what you stamp. So it's just going to come out with no border. You just want to make sure then that you don't have any of the white showing around the outside. And then this one, I can still use these little pieces to hold that. So there we go. I've got 3 of those. I think I'm only going to need 2. And let me take some of my trash over to the side. All right. Now I'm also going to have some of these little So Soft saffron flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is what I used. And I've just cut a piece. I'm going to come in from the end here and try to get that done. There's one. Let's see if I can get that in. I'm going to try not to waste my paper so much. Let's see if that will work. Yeah. Now I'm going to get some of this extra out of here. If you keep cutting with a lot of the extra, then you're probably going to mess up. So let me come back in. There's 3. I'll just get that in a minute. 4. 5. And I think I've got enough to come in and maybe get that last one in there. I did waste a little bit, but maybe not so very much. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah. So I think that should be our 6. So there's our 6 flowers that we're going to need. And then we're going to need some of these little small pieces. Now if I look at the punch again, this can come, well actually, let's see, it can come up from the bottom. And so I cut a strip that's a little bit wider than what I need. And when I stamp it, I want to stamp at the top here, and I want to put that little straight part at the bottom. So let me bring that in. I'm going to turn that around a little bit. So you can see that's the straight part right there. So I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to do a row of soft succulent. So we'll do 1, 2. I'm just going to fill it up. Well, I can get 4 out of that. And then I'm going to clean my stamp. And I will do another one of the Evening Evergreen. Okay, still trying to get my straight part at the bottom there. Okay, so there we go. And we'll punch those out. So we'll start pulling it up from the bottom. Okay. 1. And that one might be a little bit harder to get in place, being so far down to the bottom, but I think we got it. So let me pull out that extra paper there. And we'll push aside the trash. And there's 3 of those. Somewhere there's another one. But where? Okay. And we'll do the same here. Hopefully that will show up in a minute, or we may not need it. I don't think I have really 4 of each one. So this may not be the easiest way to do this. It is saving paper somewhat. And that would be the way I would end up using that. Okay. So I did lose a dark one somewhere. It's probably over here in my trash. Yep, there it is. So I think I almost have everything, but I wanted to show you how this would cut out one of the pots. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp. Let me look at my stamp, and it's going to go in like that. So I'm going to stamp this with the cinnamon cider. And if you would rather stamp than cut, then this is the pot that you would want to use. So there that is. And we'll bring this one here and punch that out. So there we are. All right, so I think now we have all of the pieces that we're going to use with the ones that I've already cut and the ones that we stamped. And now we're just going to put together a puzzle. I'm going to, hold on just a second, I'm scraping my trash into the trash can so I don't have to see it. So on my circle, I am going to glue down this piece first. And I'm going to put it kind of up to the top of that. So let me get my glue. Let me see if this is the one. Yeah, this is the one that worked. So it's going to go up in here. Now remember, this is a circle, so I can turn it a little either way when I get it how I want it. But I'm going to be using some dimensionals on the other pieces. And I had brought some of the mini. I only have those in the dark, but I wanted to use some of those as well. So I'm going to do my pot. I'm just going to put on a couple on here. And I really, well, I think I've got a little half of one here. I think I'll use it. I really want to be able to pull this in just a little bit up or down. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this. And as I said, I'm leaving a little bit of space at the top so that I can work in the other. And I like kind of going out of the lines just a little. So I'm going to do that like that. And then this one, I'm going to put some mini dimensionals out here near the end of the leaves or stems. I guess that's a cactus, but it doesn't really look like one to me. But I'm from the East. I don't get out there around cactus very much. So I think, let me get these off. They keep coming back somehow. I think I see a little of that black one sticking out, so I'm going to give it a haircut and push that. I can fix that in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down about like that. And I'm going to bring my pick your tool over here and just kind of push that up under there a little. Okay, we've got that. And then I'm just going to pick a couple of these and one of these, and a dimensional will fit right on the back of those. So there you go. And we'll put this one over that way. And we'll put one of these up here. And I'm just going to stick it up under that just a little. And then this last one will go kind of behind. Well, maybe not behind. I think I'll leave it like that. Okay, and then we have our little flowers to do. And I'm going to use dimensionals on my flowers. I was looking for the ones. I've got one that I've got a little bow tied around, and that kind of makes it easier to use these that have the sticky on a different side than what we were used to for a while. So I'm going to put my glue dot there at the very, very bottom. And we're going to be putting 3, so I'm going to go ahead and add that to the base of 3 of them. Okay. Now, if that glue dot should stick out right in there, just take your pick tool and just push that down a little bit. So I'm going to put one right in there. Okay, one in there. And we'll put one of those right in there. So we've already got the front of this done, and it's going to go right in there somewhere. But let's go ahead and build the other pot. So I'm going to use, I think, this pot on that. I'm going to go ahead and put it on dimensionals. And I'm going to put everything on dimensionals for this. So, oops, flicked it over on my shirt. So I'm going to put one here. We'll put some dimensionals on here. That's going to go like that. Now I am going to use one of these, and I'm going to use glue on that. We don't need to have it too thick. You want to be able to mail this without a lot of trouble. So I'm just going to slip that up under like that. And it looks like I've got something on my pot right there. Maybe I spit when I was talking or something. And then we're going to add a couple more of these. Let me add my dimensional one on the end of each. Now if I wanted to cover that up, I could add just a little linen thread bow. I don't have it in here with me. Let's see if I've got any just laying. Sometimes I have a bow just laying, but I don't right now. But that would be pretty on there. All right, so I'm going to add, well, like a dark one. I guess that one is a dark one. I'm going to add that and that, like that. And now we want to add one. I can't use this one for that. We're going to add one out here. But what we want is to be able to have this come over here under that. So what I'm going to do is put a mini dimensional down here at the bottom of it. And this is when I'm going to start thinking about where am I going to put all of this. If I put that there and put this there, then that would work, wouldn't it? So I'm going to go ahead and add this, and that's going to go under there. So now I want to know, where do I need to attach this? So I'd like to have it about like that. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue. This is where I messed up when I made the original. I didn't get the glue kind of in the right place. So I'm going to put that there. And we're going to hope. Whoops. Okay, I'm going to put it about like that. Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to push that down there. And then this will go under here to hold hold it closed. Now I might have that a little bit crooked, but maybe that will be better. Let's see if I can push that down again. Okay, so there's our card with the little closure. Let's work on the inside quickly, if we can. Now, I wanted to show you that this is one of the old holders that we used to have back when we had the wood stamps. And I use this to hold the insides for cards. For me, I go ahead and cut a bunch at 4 by 5 1/4, and they're in there and they're ready to go when I'm ready to go. So we're going to stamp first our saying, and the saying says, "Hope your day is on point." And I'm going to do that in Evening Evergreen. And we'll make sure stamp it right side up. And there we go. Now notice how I laid that on my grid paper straight. And that helps me to make my saying straight. Put it straight on your block and put this straight on your paper, and hopefully it will be straight. Okay, let me open this to the inside, and we're going to have to kind of build this. What I'm going to do is put this here, and I'm going to put this coming out behind it, and then I'm going to make sure that the leaves here cover up that little spot right there. So I'm going to go ahead, while I've got that spotted, this is going to go under the bottom. Put a little bit of glue. I'm going to put it right in there, and then we'll make everything fit that. So let me add a little bit of glue here. So that's going to go about like that. Maybe I'll move it up a little higher. Then we're going to put this plant. No dimensionals inside here. So we're going to put it though so that covers up that open spot. And then we'll add another flower. Let me get another glue dot for that. Let me check the back. Okay. And we'll put that right there. We can add one more. I'm going to pull this dimensionals that I used off of that one. And we'll just add a little bit of glue here. And put that there. And then we're ready for a pot. And I think I'm going to use this other pot this time. And I probably got a little bit too much glue. I'm going to pull in a scrap that I have and just pull off a little bit of that glue on there. And then just fit your bowl to your plant. So there's our inside. We'll just add that right in here. And it is ready. It is ready to send to somebody that you think will enjoy. So, which do you think you like best? Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick little hint. on some of these, in fact, on this one that I used with the first card that I made, I used a thick white for this part right here. And I can see already this one is not on a thick white, that it's going to really need that if you're going to open and shut the card quite a bit. So which of these do you like best? Do you like the one with the In the Wild paper, or do you like it with the Checks Embossing Folder? I'm not sure now that I see it which I do like best. I like them both. Okay, so once again, what we used today was the Cactus Cuties stamp set along with the Cactus Builder, let me close it, the Cactus Builder Punch for our card. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please visit my blog at lovetocreate.typepad.com. That will have all of the pictures and measurements and directions in there to help you to make the card and to use the Cactus Cuties bundle. I am a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator, and if you need supplies, I would so appreciate it if you would order from me. You can find my online you can find my online store. There's a link on the video, and you can also go to my blog, and there's a link there as well. Thank you so much for joining me today. Bye-bye.